Hey, what's up, Toby? We made it another week.
We did.
It is the Process Step podcast.
We are, and we're recording this time.
So
New
one of the
platform,
things,
learning curve.
one of the things that we're learning is that in the process, you should hit record.
Is
Otherwise it doesn't record for you, and then you're just kind of stuck.
away we go.
All right. So today's
Feedback.
topic.
100 too.
Yeah, we're close to 100, which is awesome.
Love that. I love
don't
that.
think
Great
I don't-
milestone.
I don't think that many podcasts make it to 3.
I'm
So-
sure there's a statistic out there, but I bet
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about this week, Chris?
So one of the things that we've been noodling on is one piece flow, not as in piece, the piece of thing that you're working on, whether that's a PowerPoint or a car engine or whatever, but really as humans, one piece as in peaceful flow, meaning pulling your work through instead of just being overwhelmed with the unlimited distraction or unlimited amount of work that's out there that can be done.
Yeah. Finding the work that's creating value and
Yeah.
focusing on that prioritization and protecting
Yep.
our time. 100%. 100%.
So what's interesting about just this whole topic is Toyota kind of introduced this whole topic into manufacturing, which is one piece flow, pulling stuff through, right?
PICE. Yeah.
Correct. And the way they thought of it is you have an order and then that goes to cash, right? Now there's a lot of stuff in between, but they're trying to shrink that timeline down. And I think for knowledge workers, like our key is really figuring out the signal to the value.
Right. Yeah. So in the Toyota way example in manufacturing, customer places an order.
Yep.
And then they're asking, how do we turn this request into a cash transaction?
Yes.
And then we move through the various steps to process an order and then deliver a good and then get paid for it.
Correct.
Yeah. So how do we as knowledge workers take some signal from the outside world, wherever it shows up, and then produce some kind of value, whether it's for us or an employer or a friend's request to move a couch, whatever it is.
That's right.
How do we turn it into some kind of value to us or others?
Yeah.
It's a good question. Yeah. I like this thought a lot.
Yeah. One of the things that we talked about in the amazing free run that we did on this, which I didn't hit record, was just the challenge of the signal versus the signal and the noise.
Yeah.
And
Much noise.
I don't know if you've heard, or if you've felt it. I know that I have, is AI has created significantly more noise.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And maybe even significantly more signal. I don't know.
Here's what I would say is that I've been really interested in the statistics about how are organizations creating value with AI.
Yeah.
It's abundantly clear that they're spending an enormous amount of money and that now the S&P 500 is being driven by AI mania, which feels a lot like the bubble of the late 90s.
Yeah.
Where the promise of tech outstripped the value delivery measures of tech. So some of this feels super reminiscent, but the recurring feedback has been, we laid off 1,000 people and now we're trying to hire people back. And those people are a little bit pissed. That's one of the recurring things. And so signal to noise ratio, there's so much noise because it's unbound exuberance.
Yeah.
And, just like our dear leader showing endless AI photos of him on horseback with George Washington and God, what else? Which block he's slinging this week in the last 24 hours. It's an enormous amount of noise.
Yeah.
I don't know that, the things that I'm finding value in are increasingly away from a screen.
Yeah.
My phone is increasingly becoming utilitarian because I don't find any joy wading through endless schlock ads to be able to see pictures of my friends' kids on Facebook.
Yeah.
Trying to watch streaming services, which we first adopted so that we didn't have to sit through ads on cable. And
Yep.
now they keep jacking up the price and throwing
Yep.
in advertising, whether we want
Yeah.
it. You know, it's an interesting space. And so
Yeah.
for me, the way it's a combination of business model and the AI component, but so
Yeah.
much is easy to create.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just feel inundated and it feels a little bit dirty.
Yeah. It's funny as you were saying that I was thinking about historically what has pulled us as human beings. And like historically it was our bodies, right? Meaning we were
Yeah.
hungry,
Yeah. Right.
right? We were cold or too hot. And those were the things that basically perpetuated human technology and everything else, right? Or community, right? Community connection, right?
Yeah.
And so you fast forward into today's society, and what is it that we have? We've got not as much community,
Mm.
right? We we've got we've got plenty of food most of the time, and we've got our shelter taken care of.
Yeah.
And yet our brains are still stuck in that my body needs to move me. And so our boss stresses us out so that,
Yeah.
or whatever. Like we have all this sense of fear and or disconnect.
Mm.
And so we have, one peaceless flow
Yeah.
in our day-to-day work.
Right. Yeah. The less movement and that's, they're always saying, what's the new equivalency of smoking from the 80s, right?
Yeah.
And it is the latest is that we sit too much. We're too sedentary in our work.
Yeah.
And it's because screens require us to be largely immobile,
Yeah.
We try to solve it with a myriad of things, walking desks or standing desks. And yeah, that signal to value is an interesting question. And I do think the more we do with our heads,
Yeah.
inside of a conventional office, we're trying to suppress those physical signals that are biological. So
Well, it's interesting. Like if you think about all of the noise that seeps into just our life,
yeah,
like we don't like the capacity for noise, just even in our little frustrations of getting this even recorded, like it was ultra stressful. Now, does
Yeah.
that mean I'm not going to go eat? No, I'll be fine. Does that mean I'm not going to have,
Yeah,
does
right.
that mean that I'm not going to have stuff like a roof over my head? None of that stuff, but it definitely feels significantly
Mm.
more stressful. And I think that that's kind of the point of just this whole talk and that whole concept of one peaceful flow is like, if you let noise in,
Yeah.
you are going to squash your peace.
Yeah. Yeah. It does feel like something else that demands our attention that's unwanted.
Yeah.
Is noisy. Organizationally, that idea of clarity becomes that much more important.
Yeah.
And so when we have text and phone calls and email
Yeah.
and Slack and any of the other 7,000 SaaS apps that can zing a message across, it's simply too much.
Yeah.
There's only so many. Our bit rate per second consumption is super low. And I think that that's a really healthy thing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that it does us any services to take in more because we do have a stress response and that's something we need to be mindful of. So
it's interesting. Like as you're talking through that, I was thinking about like what has been my most like peaceful time as far as working.
yeah.
And it almost always is when I can put blinders on and just do whatever task it is.
Right. Sure.
Like, you think about like us making fun of underwater basket weaving, right? And like the reality is like there is something to just doing the physical thing, right? And the same translates into the knowledge workspace when you're deep inside of a project and you lose track of time. And so it's like that could have been 15 minutes or it could have been 3 hours. I don't really know. But like there's nothing more special in life than getting to those places.
Yeah. I think that's really an interesting comment about where do we find those moments of flow?
Yeah.
Where do we find ourselves lost in our work?
Yeah.
And a lot of it is certainly in our work, but I also think it tells us a lot about what we need to search for in terms of our recreation or our hobbies.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's been so much of late that's hit my radar about, is our goal happiness or is it contentment?
Yeah.
And I think that idea of content and where my expectations align with the environment, the experience,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, that's far superior to this joyful, blissful happiness that seems to be dangled like a carrot. Buy
Yeah.
one more product, buy one more experience,
Yeah.
sell one more unit. Because back to your point, Maslow's hierarchy, we're in an age where food, water, shelter, and increasingly expensive streaming subscriptions seem to all be readily available, but our basic needs are met. But if there's any, maybe the biggest piece for me personally, though, is in the signal to noise, is that there's so many distractions that are low effort. And so doom scrolling, or, if ever you've tried to find a movie to watch on a Tuesday night and then discover you've just been scrolling through ads and teasers for like an hour,
Oh,
which I've done more than once. For me, it's a connection, though, that drives far more contentment than
yeah.
these super passive experiences.
Well, what's interesting is like the system that we're in and the system that we've created as humans is engineered and manufactured to basically keep us wherever we're at, which in general is not contentment. Like no one on their deathbed says, "Gosh, I wish I would have watched more TV. I wish I would have more binge watched."
Yeah. Yeah.
And yet these systems, and sometimes, like I don't know about you, but like there are times where I feel like I want to beat myself up about getting stuck into the wormhole
Yeah.
of doom scrolling.
Totally.
And yet the reality is there's probably been billions of dollars spent. And I did slow down there to think, would it be millions or would it be billions? But if you think
Yeah.
about Apple and you think about Google and you think about Instagram and you think about Facebook, that's billions of dollars of efforts in order to distract us, to keep us in front of their ads.
Yeah.
And that is a scary thought.
Yeah. Even as you say that, I think trillions is probably the number,
No, yeah.
versus the things that tend to bring me more peaceful experiences are the things that we've moved away from. And so having community and real relationships.
Yeah.
They don't have to be deep. We have a lot of acquaintances in the workplace.
Yeah.
Neighbors can be acquaintances, and yet still a bit of human interaction.
Yeah.
There's a richness to that, getting out in the physical world.
Yeah.
And so hoping that folks that are listening to this are doing something besides sitting on their couch doom scrolling. But, for my part, a lot of podcasts is when I'm out for a walk.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Or I'll be doing a little bit of gardening.
Yeah.
Or I'll be doing, mindless tasks around the house that have to get done, like dishes or cleaning the house and things like that. And so that's a little bit of why I love this platform and the approach we've taken with ProcessDead, is that it is trying to find something that is a way to share and engage without demanding people's bridled attention.
Yep.
So
I do think it's also a little bit of, when you have the signal and the noise, it's putting a pause and saying, is this signal, is this noise, right? And if you think about, if we kind of pull this back to what we were talking about of order to cash or signal to value, it's figuring out that time component that's in between as human beings, as we drill into that daily or monthly or weekly work. That was completely out of order there. But if you think about, do I have time?
Yeah.
And does this signal produce value? It's putting that natural, as you would say, pregnant pause there. Says, is this of value to me or value to someone else?
Yeah.
And I think if we just backed up and took that consideration instead of the habit of almost being like a mouse on on one of those running wheels where it's just
Yeah.
habit, right? It's almost like we've forgotten that Maslow is he the one that did the dings and the dogs?
No, Pavlov.
Pavlov, that's right, Pavlov's dog, yeah. So, like, we don't put that pause,
Yeah.
and so then it's notification on our watch or our phone or a ding from Teams or Slack, and then all of a sudden, we have habituated this noise
Yeah.
to discomfort, noise to frustration, noise to whatever, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah. No, it becomes a really dangerous hamster wheel.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah. I this is a good discussion topic, Chris. I like this a lot. The idea of signal to value also, it speaks to relationships. It
Yeah.
speaks to where we choose to invest our time.
Yeah.
Understanding those things that are going to actually render value versus
Yeah.
stress or heartache it's an important discernment.
Yeah.
So
I do think that that's kind of the takeaway here is like the takeaway is you're not giving any value if you're distracted or if you're biting on the noise.
yeah, totally agree.
Cool,
Plenty of
man.
noise, find the value.
That's right.
Good
Find the
week.
signal, find the value,
All right.
shrink that time.
Shrink it.
Thanks,
Shrink
man.
it, baby.
All right.
See ya.